Hey, mamas, let's talk about something that keeps us up at night, especially for those who are raising girls. How do we raise girls who are confident in who they are, who can look in a mirror and like what they see, not just on the outside, but on the inside too? How do we help them walk through puberty, peer pressure, awkward school dances, mean girl moments, and social media landmines and still come out believing that they are enough? No small task, right? But today I want to speak right to the heart of that worry and remind you that you are equipped, that we can raise confident, grounded girls even if we are still figuring it all out ourselves. Hey, and welcome back to another episode of the Jennifer Quapis podcast. I'm your host, Jennifer. Guys, I am still struggling through the month of May. Um, and I'm actually relieved to see on social media that there are a lot of parents saying the exact same thing. I do not recall the month of May being so chaotic through the field trips, the graduation ceremonies, the sports, the tournaments, the end of year school projects, the list does not stop. And I am barely keeping my head above water. So, full disclosure, I hope you do not mind spending another episode with me this week alone without a guest on the show because I cannot possibly try to incorporate someone else's schedule to meet with them and record an episode when I can barely keep up with the schedule that I have ahead of me. So, I am committed to this show. And as much as I wanted to just again re air an episode I've already run, I am here and putting in the work and talking with you all this week because I want to be here. But I promise you, I am still working on lining up some great guests and making some great content in the future. So a lot of our great guests will be back soon. But until then, it's just me. So I hope you don't mind. All right. Well, let's do a little recap of some fun things that have happened throughout this past week because, yes, I still make time for all of the goodness and good things and fun and friends and family fun. So I did get to go see the Big Ass Stadium tour this past Sunday with Post Malone and Jelly Roll. And that was a fabulous show. We had an awesome time despite it being on a Sunday night, which truly I really felt my age come Monday morning. I was I was a zombie. I was exhausted. I still am. I felt like my body was sore. Like it was a lot. It took a lot out of me. Now I rallied and I went hard and I also spent the entire weekend at a baseball tournament. So I went right from tournament and mom mode directly into jumping on a party bus and hanging out with friends and going to a concert, which was awesome. But a lot to be said for approaching 40 because yeah, it's a whole recovery process these days after enjoying yourself a little too much for a Sunday fun day. But getting back to youth sports, I want to talk about something for a moment because my son's tournament team did win their first tournament this past weekend, which was super exciting. They ended up again in the championship with the same team that they were in the championship game with the previous weekend, and they didn't quite pull through and ended up in second place. But this past weekend, they played that same team and they won. But I want to point out that we went into that championship game being down by 6 runs. The score was 6-0. And there was a moment where you could early on in the game just see some of these boys deflated and feeling defeated and doubting themselves. And I want to shout out to coaches right here and right now because I don't feel like it's talked about enough. But I saw our coaches get down on his knees and talk to these boys. And I saw a whole different set of players take the field after that pep talk. And now while I'm not exactly sure of what he said, um, he was able to get these boys to believe in themselves again and put their heads into the game. And these boys put in the work and ended up pulling out a victory with a win of 12-6. So they came back from 0 to scoring 12 runs. And it was a super exciting game. Um, and there was a moment when everybody was cheering and all excited and the boys are jumping up and down that the coach was like, hey guys, great job. I'm really proud of all of you. But again, I just want to take a moment here to point out to you guys that you can't give up. You have to keep your head in the game and do the work. And I knew in that moment exactly what that pep talk had been when I had seen those boys feeling defeated on the field. And I was like, wow, these boys don't just learn skills for a sport when they play sports. They're learning a mental mindset and how to turn off the doubt and how to overcome a fear and so much more than just swinging a bat or catching a ball. So huge shout out to all the people that coach and put in time with these young kids and do that kind of work, because that is such a foundation for building confidence and strong kids. And that leads me right into what I want to discuss with you today. Today, I want to talk about raising confident kids, especially girls, and helping our daughters own who they are. Because let's be honest, girls today are growing up in a world where confidence gets chipped away at early and often. They are comparing themselves to filtered influencers before they even understand what puberty is. They are watching videos on glow ups and how to fix your face shape at the age of 9. They are learning that being liked, literally and figuratively, is currency. We can't protect them from all of it, but we can equip them with tools, truths, and love that sticks deeper than the noise. So I know I'm going to pause right here, right now, because I know there's so much conversation around, well, I don't allow my kid on social media. And I don't disagree with you. I don't allow my kid on social media either, but they still see YouTube videos. They still are seeing videos. There is no way to shelter them and protect them from all of that, whether it be that their friends have access to these things or they have access to it in ways that we're unaware of, and it's okay. So I just want to take a minute as a mom and as a parent to say it's okay if you're not perfect. It's okay if your children have seen these things, even amongst your best attempts to protect them from any and everything that they can. So I just wanted to kind of get off topic there for a second, because that's such a strong conversation that gets had and gets brought up. And I just don't want any parent to feel any shame in whatever decisions you decide are right for your child. But knowing that there are things that come into play in their lives with exposure to these things, whether you're allowing it or not, and knowing that it could make them feel less than, even if you're intentionally trying to protect them from it. So let's talk about what confidence actually looks like in, let's say, a 10-year-old girl. And I'm going right for a 10-year-old girl because I have one, right? So it's not always loud. It's not always fearless. And it's definitely not perfectly put together. But confidence at 10 might be these things. And I put together some bulleted items: wearing mismatched socks because she likes them, standing up for her friend when someone's being left out. It might be asking questions in class, even if she's not 100% sure it's a smart question. It might be singing out loud in the car. It might be saying no to a party invite to stay at home in her pajamas and read a book. But these are moments we want to notice and celebrate with our kids, because this is the age where the world starts whispering shrink, blend, and fit into a mold. Our job is to be louder than that whisper. I recently had a conversation with my daughter, Brooke, and we were talking about how she has friends that she really enjoys spending time with, but sometimes it seems like they start to act completely different in certain situations than she's used to them behaving when maybe they're just hanging out at home. And so I did have an honest conversation with her that this is just an awkward age and stage of life, and that that is okay. And that she, as a friend, needs to be open minded and forgiving of some of these things that she's noticing and experiencing. Um, in a healthy manner, right? So obviously, we don't want to encourage her to not feel empowered or to hang around with someone who is making her feel less than. But we do want to point out to our children that not everybody is perfect and everybody is in a learning age and trying to figure out their place and their friends. And with those things, um, comes mistakes, and everybody is going to make them. So I also want to encourage and remind you that it's really important to take those moments and have those conversations and ask your daughter how she felt in that situation, and remind her that if it made her feel awkward or something got said that made her feel uncomfortable or unimportant or like she needed to shrink or clam up, that it's really important to make sure that she's conscious of those feelings and what actions led to those feelings so that she isn't ever making anybody feel that way. Or if she notices someone start to clam up because of something she said, that she can jump in and have that conversation and say, "Hey, friend, did I do or say something that upset you or made you feel uncomfortable? Because I didn't mean to, or I was wrong in the way I acted." Um, and she's learned that ownership, hopefully, like I discussed in a previous episode with my son, that when I make mistakes, when my husband makes mistakes, we own our mistakes and have those conversations with our children to say, "Hey, I'm sorry, I didn't act the best," because everybody is human. And those conversations are really important to have because they too are going to have interactions in their life where they may need to approach someone and say, "Hey, I was wrong. I didn't handle that the best way. And I wanted to let you know that I'm sorry." So, super important that we model that behavior and that we have those open and honest conversations with our children. And so that kind of leads me into wanting to talk about some things that help build up confidence in younger kids. So again, we're talking around the 10-year-old age group there in and about, right? So autonomy is really important. So let her order her own food. Let her have opinions on her clothing, even if they clash. If the outfit doesn't match or it's not an outfit you would choose for them, let her wear it anyways, as long as it's obviously appropriate. And that's a whole nother discussion. So I might circle back to that one because I do want to have a conversation about appropriate clothing. But to stay on topic here in talking about autonomy, you also want to let your children try different things and fail. As parents, I feel like we're always so protective about not wanting our kids to fail at things. We always want to be that safety net. But when they start to approach this 10-year-old ish age, it's really important to let them try different things and not be successful in them, because that starts to build up their competence, and their competence will breed confidence. So don't always save them or protect them from different things that they want to try, let them fail, or let them struggle a little bit. It's good for them at this age. I would say the second thing that I think builds confidence in children at this age is praise for the process, not just the outcome. And what I mean by that is we tend to always praise them for grades or academics, right? That's an easy one. "I'm so proud of you. You're so smart." And while that's really important to say, I also think it's equally important to say, "Hey, I love how hard you worked on that project." Or, "I noticed that you didn't give up when you were trying to rewrite that book report. That was tricky." to point out the process and compliment how they're working through things is equally as important as outcomes. You can say things like, "Hey, that was really brave of you to try something new." These things are really important to praise them for. So praise the process, not just their outcomes. The next thing I think that really helps with confidence is to let your child see you try new things, mess up, laugh at yourself. Even as an adult, it's important for them to see that we don't always get it right either, right? And that we still have ambitions and new things and that we want to try and do. This podcast was a huge one for me. And I will tell you, my kids think it's the coolest thing ever. And while I'm still not really sure that it's cool, it is something that was near and dear to my heart. But my kids are my biggest cheerleaders in this endeavor. I think they love to see that I am putting myself out there and that I am trying something new and that it might not be this huge success, but that I'm okay with that and that I'm still moving forward. So let them see you try new things and mess up, laugh at yourself, make light of it, and be okay with the process, the mistakes, and just not being perfect all the time. By being a living example, we're teaching them self-compassion, right? And confidence is, it's not about messing up. It's about continuing on when you don't do things the right way right off the rip. The next thing, I'm trying so hard. I keep saying the next thing, because I feel like I always give you guys these lists and I number them. Okay, but I'm done saying the next thing. So I'm just going to go ahead and say it. Number 4 is friendships that feel safe and affirming. So ask your kids how they feel after they've been out and spending time around their friends. Help them learn to recognize what healthy friendships look like and what doesn't work for them. So when they come home, "Hey, did you have fun at so and so's house? What did you do? How did that make you feel? Oh, you guys were laughing. That's awesome. Was everybody laughing? Were they laughing at you? Oh, they were. How did that make you feel?" Having those conversations are really important because we want them to start to recognize what a healthy relationship looks like. We also want to have those moments of teaching when, like I mentioned a little bit ago, if they had a moment that made them kind of clam up and feel awkward because they were acting themselves and someone pointed out that they were weird or that was dumb or any of the things that kids might say, that it's okay for them to pause and learn to kind of stick up for themselves, not kind of stick up for themselves, learn to stick up for yourself in a kind tone. It doesn't need to be attacking, but they can stop and say, "Hey, that hurt my feelings. Jeff." Jeff, such an adult name. I guess there's kids named Jeff too. I don't know. You guys, again, exhausted. It's May. Cut me some slack here, okay? I am trying really hard. Okay, but you know what I'm saying. We want them to be able to tell their friends that something they did made them feel uncomfortable. And if they aren't ready to act on it in that moment, it's okay to excuse yourself or say, that they're going to go home. And then if the friend asks them later, maybe they'll be more prepared to have that conversation at a later date. But again, going back to, they need to learn how to communicate their feelings when something unexpected comes up in a situation with their friends. They need to learn to be forgiving as long as it wasn't something that was obviously very mean. If someone is saying something very mean, then we maybe don't want our kids hanging around with them, but we want them to be forgiving, um, as we want other friends to be forgiving of our children when they make mistakes too. So number 5 is an encouragement to speak up. And I kind of touched on this on number 4, but going into more detail, not just speaking up to their friends, but maybe speaking up at a restaurant if their order isn't right. Learning how to let the waitress know, like, "Hey, I wanted apples instead of fries." These are good conversations that they need to start having in the real world. Or maybe it's asking a teacher for help. Maybe they're really shy or It makes them uncomfortable to ask a teacher for help. We need to be encouraging at this age and making sure that they are able to have those conversations and they can come home and have them with you first. And you can coach them on what to say, or what if the teacher says this, then you can respond this way. But it is really important that they learn to use their voice and trust that gut feeling that says, hey, no, I want to say this. Okay, well, go ahead, say it, try it. They need to speak up and learn to have a voice. So, want to just share a little bit of a personal story here, um, going back to this whole confidence topic, because there have been a lot of learning moments for myself as well as probably for you as a parent. But I would say probably like a year or so ago, Brooke got into the whole like baggy jeans look. That was our era. That was the grunge look, right? So I was like, ooh, and I kind of stopped myself because I was going to say to her, like, oh, Brooke, you don't want to wear that. And I was like, oh, that's probably not very nice for me to say to my daughter. So, we ordered the jeans and I'm like, you know what, just be open minded. And she went upstairs when they came in and she put on her outfit. And let me tell you, the moment she walked out in her new outfit and her baggy jeans and I saw the look on her face, I was like, wow, I'm really glad that I let that one play out, because she clearly feels very confident in this outfit and she was so pleased with it that it was undeniably something I was like, yeah, absolutely. You look great, because she felt great in it. So just a reminder, it's not easy, right? Like, obviously, we've been in control of them and their lives and made decisions for them all of their life. But when you get to this point and you get to this age, it's really a lot for a parent to start to learn how to let go of those reins a little bit and let them start to become their own little people. But I promise you, it is so rewarding to see them come into their own. Another personal story, Brooke was having issues with some girls at school, and she was coming home and she was upset, and we were talking about it and talking through it, and I had to remind her over and over again that it's okay to stick up for yourself, and it's okay to say, do not speak to me that way, or if you have nothing to say, don't say anything to me at all. And I think she was a little taken back that I was telling her to be mean, which I had to explain to her wasn't mean. It's mean the way they're treating you, and you shouldn't allow people to treat you that way. So I did have to coach her through a conversation with one of her close friends, um, who was not being very nice at the time, as kids growing up might not be. We just talked about this, and she had the conversation on speakerphone. And I listened in after we kind of talked back and forth, and I had coached her through how the conversation should go. She wanted me to listen in, and I was able to encourage her and shake my head and kind of give her a thumbs up. And I will tell you, from that moment, she grew a backbone that has allowed her to become so much more comfortable in her own skin. So I think we forget that they don't know what they don't know, is what I'm trying to say. That you may have to step up and tell your kid, if they're not one to stand up for themselves, that it's okay to stand up for yourself and, be tough back to somebody who isn't treating you right. So, just all the things that we go through as parents. And there is no book, and I am by no means writing it for you. I just want to share some of the experiences I've gone through and kind of talk about some things that I've noticed have worked and things that have not. And I also want to talk about some ways that us as parents might undermine our children's confidence, even if we do not mean to. So, some sneaky ways we as moms accidentally chip away at our kids' confidence is number one, commenting on your own body negatively in front of them. Even just saying, like, ugh, I look huge in this, or oh my God, my hair is disgusting. Things like that can really stick in their own mind. And then they start to wonder if they should be thinking that same thing about themselves. So be very, very careful and mindful about how you talk about yourself and others in front of your kids. Number 2, over fixing. If you are constantly fixing their hair, adjusting their shirt, suggesting that they change their clothes, you are sending them a message that they are not good enough as they are. So while it is important to, you know, look a certain way when you're going to go somewhere, I completely respect that and I completely agree. But over fixing or over fussing about all the small details, it's gotta fall by the wayside. I mean, I will be the first to tell you I hate Crocs. And anybody that knows me knows that I hate Crocs, but my kids love those damn shoes. They do. And my daughter loves to wear her UGG slippers around, and I see kids wearing them out all the time. Do I think that kids should be wearing slippers to school? No. Do I think it's awesome that they do and comfortable? Yeah. And you know what? It doesn't even matter what I think because that's what they want to wear and that's what makes them feel comfortable. They want to wear the Crocs with their socks. That's what they're wearing. And I'm done. I'm done with that battle because they are them and they are not me. And yes, our children are somewhat a reflection of who we are, but I'm going to focus more on how kind they are and the way they treat others and the way they are respectful to adults. And those things are just so much more important than perfectly brushed hair or the types of shoes that you want them to wear. I digress. The other thing I will say is number 3, comparing them to others. Even if it's just casually saying, like, ooh, she's so put together, or I love that. You should do your hair like that. It's not meant to be mean. It's meant to inspire them, but it can definitely make them feel like they're not measuring up to someone else or you're noticing someone else over them and wanting them to be more like that person, which is exactly the opposite of what we're trying to do in raising confident, independent kids. So just be really careful about comparing them to their peers. Number 4, brushing off their feelings. Puberty emotions are big. And now I'm not in it, but I'm pretty sure we're getting close. So try to replace comments like you're being so dramatic, which I have said many of times. I'm trying, and this is going to sound so annoying. I don't like the way I wrote it because I always hate when people are like, do the gentle talk with your kids because it doesn't work with every child. If I gentle talked to my children, nothing would ever get done and I'd be blue in the face. But I did write down here to try to say something like, that sounds really frustrating, or tell me more about that. So without sounding like a counselor, try to maybe instead of telling them you're being dramatic, to try to be like, let's have more of a conversation about that. Why were you feeling that way? There, that sounds better than what I wrote down here. But I think you get the gist of what I'm saying. And number 5, overpraising appearance. It's okay to say, oh my gosh, you're so beautiful or you're so handsome, but don't let that be the only compliment that your kids hear. You need to balance that with, you're so funny, you're such a good problem solver, I admire your creativity and things like that. So make sure we're not just always complimenting them for appearance. Okay, and then this is a good place to inject another personal experience that I've come across just to kind of level set the playing field and speak my truth and let you know that I too am human and don't get it all right. I was making some comments about some other women and my daughter heard me and she called me out on it. She was like, Mom, why do you care that that's what they're wearing or if that's what they like to look like? And I was taken back a moment, to be honest, but also like really proud because she was absolutely right. And I had to course correct right then and there and say, oh my gosh, Brooke, thank you so much for calling me out on that. You're absolutely right. I am being petty and it's none of my business. And if they feel confident wearing that, then that's what they should be wearing. And you are absolutely right. So we all make mistakes, is what I'm getting at. I'm not sitting here preaching to you what you should and shouldn't be doing because I am still learning and navigating my way through this and I'm still very much human. So Just want to make that abundantly clear as I talk to you. It is also very important that we teach our kids to question their own narratives, to teach them that not every thought that comes into their mind deserves to be believed. Whether it's, oh, I'm not as pretty as that girl over there, or they didn't invite me because they think I'm weird, or maybe the narrative in their head is if I say something wrong, everyone will laugh. Those thoughts in their mind, you need to point out to them, might not be the truth just because they're a thought that pops into their mind. You can say, well, is that a thought, not a fact? Or let's talk about whether that's true or just a fear of yours. So that's a big one that I have with Brooke. You think they didn't invite you because you think they're weird. Is that true? Did they say that to you? Or is that just a fear that you have because maybe you were acting yourself and it threw them off guard and they didn't respond in a way that you expected them to respond? So pointing things out like that, I think also helps them think through the situation. So when these thoughts pop into their mind, let's talk to them about how to navigate their way out of it, and not dwell on those things. And I love to point out too, like, even if what you think is true, what does that change about you? Does it change your value? It might make you feel sad, but it doesn't change who you are. So, confidence is never about having doubts. It's about learning to talk back to them. So, teach them to talk back to the doubts they may be having in their mind. So, speaking of giving them tools, let's talk about a self confidence toolkit, if you will. Give your kids a toolkit, practical things that they can do when they are feeling self conscious or uncertain. I do love the mantra mirror notes, and I need to get back to doing this because I used to do this for myself, and it does make a difference when you see it first thing in the morning. You go into the bathroom, and on the mirror is some sort of positive affirmation or sticky note on the mirror that says, "You are powerful. Your heart is a superhero. Be bold." Anything like that that might make you feel confidence. It does set the tone for the day of how they're going to speak to themselves. And as you all know, self talk is so important. And so, why not teach them to have that positive self talk now at a young age? Another thing is that I have not done, but I really like the idea of a gratitude jar. It says to keep notes about what they love about themselves and things that they're proud of. So have them write down things they like about themselves or things they've accomplished, fold them up and put them in the jar. And maybe when they're having some self doubt or going through something with a friend, you can have them read a few things out of their gratitude jar to help them remember who they are and things that they should be proud of, regardless of what other people are saying, doing, or the way they're feeling about themselves in that moment. So, another funny thing that you can do is give that inner critic inside of them a funny name, like, oh, there's Mean Marge again. So, when they bring up, like, oh, they don't like me because I'm weird. Oh, is that Mean Marge coming out to talk again? Just to kind of make light of the situation. So, that is a great and funny idea. And another thing is to role play those hard conversations. Practice what to say when a friend is mean or when she wants to say no. Huge. Practice how to say no. And while I tell you as an adult that no is a full and complete sentence, you can tell your child that too. But talk through the conversations, role play a little bit on, okay, if they say this, what can you say? Or tell them, if they say this, you can say that. Give them some armor to keep in their back pocket so that they don't get caught off guard and are left just kind of standing there, or the tears start rolling down their face. Maybe because they've rehearsed it, they can come back with it and feel confident enough to say what they need to say in those moments. So, doing some role playing or situational practice, I guess we'll call it, can go a long way. And the next and final, most important thing you can do is model the behaviors and the self care yourself. Let her see you read, rest, treat your body right, eat healthy, exercise, And most importantly, speaking gently to yourself, forgiving yourself for not being perfect. It's huge that they see these things and these behaviors coming from you. All right, that wraps up a lot of what I wanted to talk about raising confident kids. But I do want to kind of circle back, like I said I was going to, about dressing appropriately. Mamas, get on my socials, send me emails, messages. I want to talk about dress code because apparently it's not really being enforced in our schools anymore. And it blows my mind. I'm just going to say it. You're allowed to wear ears, wear a tail, say that you're a cat. You're allowed to wear belly shirts, short shorts, just all the things. And while it is so important that kids have self expression, there still needs to be boundaries. They're still children. Am I wrong? Am I crazy? Why are we allowing young girls to walk around with their midriff showing or their butt cheeks hanging out of their shorts at school? Okay. I'm just going to leave that one there. And if anybody has anything to add or comment about, I would love to hear from you because I'm concerned, especially teachers. Teachers, if you're a teacher, talk to me. What are we doing here? Where's your stance on this? I need to hear from both sides of the aisle here. Your thoughts on this one. So I would appreciate it. Thank you. So, mamas, to conclude this episode, if you are sitting here again and wondering, am I doing this right? You are already on the right track. The fact that you care about raising confident, resilient, self assured children alone makes you a phenomenal parent. And guess what? You don't have to be perfectly confident yourself to teach it. I sit here as a prime example of that. You just have to be honest, intentional, and willing to learn alongside of your children. So speak life over your children. Speak life over yourself. And remember, you're not just raising a daughter. You're raising a woman who will one day look back and say, my mom helped me believe that I was enough. I hope you have a great week. We are almost through the month of May, and I look forward to the month of June. We'll talk to you guys next time. Thanks for coming.